Hey, everybody, legal leaders, Al Fragnoli and Zach Sutty. We're joined tonight by Nick Marckel. Nick is the Director of Ticket Operations for the University of North Carolina. Nick, thanks for coming on with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you here. We've got a couple questions lined up for you to chat with you about. The first one is you obviously have a ton of experience in ticket operations, both at the collegiate and at the minor league baseball level. Obviously, with COVID and everything that's going on in the country, there's no sales that are really occurring at the moment in the sports industry. From an operational standpoint, what are some of the challenges that your department has been faced with in the past few months, and how have you and your team been able to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, good question. It's been hard. I think the hardest part has been not knowing anything at all. So we started football renewals in November, not having any idea of what would happen in late January or early February with COVID. Constantly having to evolve and make changes based on what local and state authorities have said, what the country has said, and it's been hard. Ticket operations typically is a ABC type step. You may change some things up each year, but for the most part, it stays pretty much the same in terms of you have to do this before you can do that. And it hasn't been the case at all this year. So there's been a lot of chaos. It's been fun. It's been challenging. Everyone having to worry about these job cuts that have come or furloughs. But I think we're finally starting to get back on our feet and hopefully move towards a little more normalcy and having fans in the not so distant future at UNC events and events nationwide.
So Nick, there's a lot of organizations getting creative, and I think that's one thing that this pandemic has kind of forced everyone to think outside the box. What are some promotional strategies that UNC may use moving forward to bring back fans to sporting events once fans are allowed to, back at the events?
Totally agree. We've had so many, Zoom brainstorming sessions over the past few months of what are we going to do, and we've planned for 50% capacity this year, 40%, 30, all the way down to 10, 5%, just to see what all that looks like. And with each one, essentially, we've had a different plan going forward of how we're going to operate. Currently, in the state of North Carolina, we are allowed 50 guests at outdoor venues. So 50 student athletes, parents are able to come, and that's it. So in the present, there's not so much that's going on. I think the biggest part right now is to keep people engaged. So we've had cardboard cutouts at football. We've added them at soccer as well for people to go on and be able to be a virtual fan. The other thing we as a department are doing, stepping up the social media game. Again, just more posts, more engaging posts. It seems like everybody right now understands what is going on to this point and where we're at with fans in the stadium and in the venues. But they're still looking to be engaged, and they want to be engaged, and they want to interact. And it's our job collectively to make sure that we're doing that. So from a social standpoint, engaging them throughout the week leading up to the games, and then also just making sure that we're calling and sending emails to all our constituents. So our donors, our season ticket holders, our students especially, and we're having record high of open rates with emails right now. Everything that's gone out has been put together very well and very strategically, and we're seeing some great results with some information that's being delivered to those fans in terms of their engagement, which is great news.
Nice. Nick, you alluded a little bit to the fact of some layoffs occurring, obviously, in the sports industry. We just recently have heard that the University of Utah laid off their entire athletic department, athletic director included. So kind of shocking that they went that route and laid off the entire athletic department. Again, a lot of furloughs, a lot of layoffs happening across the country, across the board here in athletics. What do you think is going to happen in the next year or two? Where do you see college athletics and the landscape looking like down the road in the future? Do you think athletic departments are going to be significantly cut in regards to jobs, or where do you see it going in a few years down the road here?
I think in the immediate future, the furloughs are interesting. The cuts are interesting. Obviously, you have departments that are, with no football being played, projecting $50-100 million revenue hits, which is significant to say the least. In the short term, the interesting part now becomes, you're only a month and a half away, 2 months away from basketball season. So if you're furloughing anyone who may have a part with basketball, you need to get that done probably sooner rather than later, or provide them some flexibility throughout the year in order to complete their furlough days. We had the announcement of furlough days here at the North Carolina as well, where we have until the end of the fiscal year, so June 30th, to take a certain number of days. So we've been provided that flexibility, which is helpful for us. We don't have fans or many fans at football right now, but again, basketball is upcoming. Our governor is making a statement at the early part of October, hopefully, which will continue to see outdoor gathering sizes increased. We went up from 25 to 50, so hopefully we can see a much larger exponential increase. But that's something too that's completely out of our hands as a department. So we have to make sure we have everything in order to adjust once that new phase is introduced to us in the early part of October. From a long-term perspective, I don't know what this looks like, to be completely honest. We, normally in an athletic department, in terms of crises that come up, there usually is at least one person that within the department has gone through something similar, if not at your current school, then somewhere else that they've been where they can kind of shed some light on it. Global pandemic, nobody has gone through that. So there's a lot of people asking a lot of questions, a lot of people who don't know. I mentioned the revenue hits, the $50-100 million projected losses. That's not something that's going to be brought back and made up, in a year. That's probably going to be a 2, 3, 4 year plus for some schools project. So I do think some departments will continue to not hire for open positions and eliminate those positions and do what they can to save across the board. I think that makes it a lot more challenging for the employees who do work in the event space, such as operate, ticket ops, event management, game day personnel, where, normally you have so many people who you can spread out at certain events, and people who will, work with 1 or 2 sports, where if you're cutting, 1 or 2 people, you're then asking those ones to do more work and cover more sports. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I think one thing that always comes in kind of this time of crisis and change is some innovation. So we're looking at things internally of, okay, if we are short people, if we are simpler on our end in terms of game day or prep work. So we made the move earlier this year. We announced we were going to go to digital ticketing, which most people are doing that right now anyways, but that's a huge, not only cost saving measure for us, but that's a great innovation in partnership that we have with our folks at Pacquiao, where, we can provide people tickets instantaneously. There's a lot of stuff now that you can do with the digital tickets that you couldn't, 2-3 years ago. So that's one of the things that we're moving forward with. And, we haven't been able to really unveil it yet at this point because we haven't had any fans, but once we're able to, we're hoping that's gonna help out a lot in saving us some time internally, as well as the fans externally of receiving their tickets closer to the game, not having to worry about anything if they misplace their tickets, and being fully mobile with what they're able to do. So we're really excited for that initiative.
Awesome. Nick, this was all fantastic information that you shared with us. We're obviously all very hopeful that the industry rebounds sooner rather than later. And, we're confident that it will. And Nick, we wish you the best of luck at the University of North Carolina there. We hope you have a great football season and the rest of fall sports that are underway now. And hopefully all the winter sports are starting pretty soon here as well, and get off to the right start for you. So thanks again for coming on with us, Nick.
That's right. Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate it. Enjoy listening to the podcast.
Thanks. All right. We'll talk to you soon, Nick.
All right. See you guys.